electroencephalogram or EEG. Okay, electroencephalogram is a spontaneous electrical activity of the brain which is recorded from the surface of the scalp. Remember here, electroencephalogram is nothing but it's a non-invasive investigation where the leads are placed on the scalp. It is actually recording the electrical activity of the brain. Okay, now on the cortex, the gray matter, all the cell bodies are located, right? They have a dendritic dendrites. Okay, the dendrites of these neurons, they are perpendicularly placed to the surface of the cortex. So now in these dendrites, whenever there are a lot of synapses being formed along with the on the dendrites of these neurons, so there is production of lot of EPSP or IPSP depending upon the neurotransmitter. Either there is a production of excitatory postsynaptic potentials or inhibitory postsynaptic potentials in these neurons. So now these together, EPSP or IPSP, together we call it as postsynaptic potentials, right? So the summation of these local EPSP and IPSP is what we get it as EEG. Remember, electroencephalogram is not the action potential in the cortical neurons. It is not the action potentials. It is the summation of the postsynaptic potentials. Nothing but your excitatory postsynaptic potential or inhibitory postsynaptic potential. Totally the summation of that is what we get it as electroencephalogram. Okay. Now coming on to what are the waves we see in EEG. They are alpha, beta, theta and delta. Okay, some books also mention we see gamma waves. Okay, so we mainly the basic waves what we see are alpha, beta, theta and delta. This division is based on the frequency or hertz. Okay, frequency is nothing but number of waves per second. So now when I tell it's an alpha wave, it is nothing but there are 8 waves for 1 second. That's all it is. Like it is just a waveform. Okay, no particular pattern is noted. Like, so if you see, if there are 8 waves per second, you just categorize that into an alpha wave. So it is the number of waves per second is what determines what type of waves are recorded in the EEG. Okay, so we have alpha, beta, theta and delta now and gamma waves. Okay, now I variant in BATD so that you can easily remember the frequencies. Okay, in the descending order. Now B stand here, you can remember it as BAT D. Okay, I think for Indians everybody is familiar with Dhoni, right? Batting, bat, Dhoni. So the easier to remember is BATD. Now what is B meaning here? For beta waves the frequency is 14 to 30 hertz. If you decrease it now, 8 to 13 hertz comes under, it's called as alpha waves. 4 to 7 hertz is your theta waves. 1 to 7 hertz wave is your delta waves. Okay, so now this here we have shown as amplitude. It varies. Okay, 5 to 10 microvolts for beta waves, 50 to 100 for alpha waves, 10 to 50 for theta waves, 20 to 200 microvolts is here for delta waves. If you see delta waves, it is the highest amplitude. So the frequency is the least, but it has the highest amplitude. Sometimes, rarely, we can also see gamma waves when the neurons in the brain are hyper excitable. So all the neurons are highly active. That is when we get 30 to 80 hertz waves, which is called as gamma waves. But normally, when a person is awake, right now, see now you are listening to this video, your eyes are open. So now if I record EEG waves from your scalp now, what I will be recording is beta waves. Okay, when the eyes are open, it is your beta waves. Okay, now just close your eyes and relax. Okay, when you're closing your eyes and relaxing, now if you record the waves, that is called as alpha waves. The frequency will reduce now because all the sensory inputs which were coming through your eye and all will be reducing and you're trying to relax now. So slightly the frequency will reduce. As theta and delta waves are found during the sleep, usually like stage 2 or stage 3 or stage 4 of sleep. Delta waves and all you will get only during the stage 4 sleep. Theta waves can be recorded during the stage 2 or stage 3 sleep. Okay, so now hope you understood. Your eyes are open, you close your eyes and try to relax, and then person just goes into sleep. Then we get theta and delta waves. Now here if you see, if you close your eyes, okay, but now if I ask you to, like, you're closing your eyes and you're trying to relax. Now if I ask you to do some calculation, for example 5 into 2 into 2 plus 10. Now when you do this calculation, remember, even though your eyes are closed, because you're doing calculation, because of the activity in the cortex, now what happens is you'll be recording beta waves. Not just closure of eyes will get you alpha waves, closing your eyes along with relaxing. Okay, relaxation is what records your alpha waves. Okay, but if you do some mathematical calculations or any other task, if it is performed with a closed eyes, remember the alpha waves will be replaced by beta waves. So when your brain is active, you get beta waves with your open eyes. Close your eyes and try to relax, you get alpha waves. The still more lesser activity of the brain what we see is during sleep, right? Theta and delta waves. Gamma waves are usually seen whenever there's a lot of focus or attention is required, or sometimes in like epileptic conditions and all, the frequency will be very high. That is your gamma waves. Now there is a term called alpha block, desynchronization of EEG, arousal or alerting response. Okay, all are same. Okay, alpha block. Now it's very simple, as I already explained here. Okay, what happens is, see, now you have closed your eyes and trying to relax, so you are getting alpha waves. Now you suddenly open your eyes, what would have happened is alpha waves are replaced by beta waves. Again you close your eyes, again instead of beta you will be recording alpha waves. So this is now here the alpha waves are blocked because you opened your eyes, and you are recording some other waves here instead of alpha waves because you opened your eyes, right? So this is called as alpha block. Alpha block is nothing but otherwise called alerting response or arousal response or desynchronization of EEG. So it is nothing but the alpha waves are suddenly replaced by beta waves because you open your eyes. Again you close your eyes, you get alpha waves, which is called as alpha block. Hope you are clear with this basics now. Here you learn what is EEG, what are the different forms of EEG and the frequencies. Okay, remember 1 to 4, it's like double it. Okay, 4 to 8, 8 to 13, 14 to 30. Like easier to remember is 13 to 30. Roughly you can remember. This is 148. Okay. This is 13 to 30. Usually 14 to 30 is what is your beta waves. Then what is alpha block? Desynchronization of EEG and arousal mechanism. Now moving on to the next concept here. If you see here. Now why are we getting these waves from your cortex? Why are we recording this alpha, beta, theta, delta waves from the cortex now? You all know it is the postsynaptic potential which has been recorded here. But remember, it is not just the cortical activity. It is actually these cortical activity are influenced by the reticular formation which is present in the brainstem. So here if you see the diagram, what I have drawn here is, this is the midbrain, pons and medulla. Throughout the brainstem, you know there is a reticulum or network of nerve fibers which are called as reticular formation. From this reticular formation, the nerves ascends up and stimulates your thalamus. Thalamus in turn stimulates your cortex. So now whatever the neuronal activity is happening in the thalamus is influenced by the subcortical structures like thalamus and reticular formation, right? So now just listen here. Whenever the reticular formation stimulates your thalamus, thalamus stimulates your cortex. That is when you get alpha waves. Okay, so it means what? Whenever you are recording beta waves or alpha waves, the brainstem is influencing the thalamus, which is influencing your cortex. But if you get as you go into deeper sleep, once beta is converted into alpha waves, theta waves, delta waves, during delta waves, what has happened? The person is in very deep sleep, no? That time, if you see, what has happened is reticular formation activity will reduce. The thalamus influence on the cortex also will reduce. So cortex, whatever the waves are recorded here, that is your delta waves, that is occurs due to activity in the cortex, which is independent of the subcortical structures. It means thalamus is not influencing, reticular formation is also not influencing your cortex. When the person is in deep sleep, only his cortex is active, and that is what gives the waves, that is your delta wave. So the reticular formation influence is also not there, thalamus influence is also not there, so only cortical activity is recorded where the person is in deep sleep. So this is, I think books mention it as thalamocortical loop. Okay, there's a loop between thalamus and cortex which causes synchronization of EEG. I think one of the functions of thalamus is to synchronize the EEG waves, meaning this is what gives feedback to your cortical neurons, and a particular waveform is recorded. Whenever you cut off all this, okay, or if there's any disturbance, any influence which comes and stimulates reticular formation or thalamus, there's a desynchronization of EEG waves. Now